Farming in the West. Note-taking study guide, page 213. This is section 4. The question we're going to answer is, how did farmers on the plains struggle to make a living? So farming in the West was not easy. So first, the Homestead Act of 1862. What this is, it offered 160 acres to anyone who resided on the land for 5 years. Thousands became homesettlers. The settlers required free land from the government. In railroads, more farms meant more shipping for the railroads. So railroads actually gave away. If you remember, the railroads had received lots of subsidies from the government in the form of land. So they had acres and acres of land, and actually they gave away 180 million acres of land they got from the government to farmers because they could get more money by the farmers sending their goods via railroads than they could by owning the land and actually selling it. So they gave it away for free. New farming methods. Steel plows could break through the sod, drills to bury seed, reapers to harvest crops, threshers to beat off the hard coverings of grains. These were many different inventions that made farming easier in the plains. Farm families, role of men, they labored on the farm. Role of children, they tended animals and helped with chores. Role of women, they kept the house, they helped plant and harvest, they educated children, they nursed the sick, they served the clothes, they preserved the food, they made basic, such as candles and soaps. And exodusters, okay? These were thousands of African Americans came to the plains. They were known as exodusters because they believed they were like the Jews fleeing from slavery in Egypt in the book of Exodus in the Bible. So many of the freed African Americans, freed slaves from the South, fled segregation and the black codes and the literacy tests and the poll taxes and the KKK and other extreme groups like that, and fled into the West and settled and farmed the plains. Spanish-speaking farmers during this time, many had been here since before the Mexican-American War. Many Mexican immigrants survived with the coming of railroads, and large landowners were known as Negroes. Sooners. These were people who snuck onto the land that was given away by the federal government in the Indian Territory of Oklahoma. If you remember, Oklahoma was supposed to be the land for Native Americans. That many of the Cherokee were forced there, and eventually that land was taken back from them as well and given to settlers. Farmer organizations. Granges were groups of farmers, and they met for lectures, sowing bees, and other events. And in 1867, a local granges joined to form the National Grange. This was kind of the first rumblings of unions. And granges demanded the same low rates from railroads and warehouses given to big farmers. Big farmers had lower rates, and so small farmers thought, well, let's get together and we'll demand the same low rates. Farm cooperatives were groups of farmers who pooled their money to make large purchases of tools, seed, and other supplies at discount. And many unhappy farmers joined with labor unions to form the Populist Party. This Populist Party pushed for social reforms, and we'll get more into that a little bit later in the chapters. As you can see here, this is a political cartoon, and just go ahead and look at that cartoon. Who do you think represents what? What does the cartoon suggest about farmers' attitudes toward the federal government? We'll discuss that in class.